The governor of Indiana recently signed a bill to help crack cold cases. House Bill 1248, signed last year, provides more cash for equipment and hiring of additional staff. Wave News anchor Rob Wells takes us a look at how forensic technology is making a difference.
Last year, Indiana State Police received a budget boost from under $15 million to $18 million for its forensic laboratory. Spokespersons say it drives home the message that cases, no matter how old, will continue to receive attention that every crime victim deserves.
We want people to know that your loved one is not forgotten.
It's a message that Indiana State Police Captain Ron Galaviz is promising after Governor Mike Braun inked House Bill 1248, pouring more resources into the state's forensic laboratory. And
we have dedicated individuals, and when I say dedicated, they live and breathe to solve these cases.
He says it'll help with homicides, sex offense, or high-risk missing persons cases that are open for 5 years or longer with no charges or victims identified.
But along with those technologies, we need to have the resources as far as personnel to run those programs, collate that information.
Recent cases include a DNA sample taken from a suspect that linked him to a deadly stabbing and house fire in Clarksville, Indiana in 2013. Carlos Alberto Bonilla Caningas had been in a federal ICE facility in Georgia when a records check flagged him.
It was gruesome. You know, it's a brutal crime scene. You know, you have people stabbed hundreds of times. I mean, it's a career case.
DNA analysis also helped Indiana State Police solve a 39-year-old cold case involving a baby found in the trash at the Sisters of St. Benedict Marian Heights Academy in Ferdinand. Police say that 56-year-old Alexandra Schertz admitted to giving birth to the baby in a bathroom stall in 1987, then left him while she went to get a bag to hide the body. Schertz later pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter. Governor Braun says that the funds are already paying off in efficiency, including a 19% reduction in DNA backlog and 50% increase in automated DNA batch processing. Rob Wells, Wave News.